Yes, check this. This check this. This check this. Check. Check.
Working. Test, test, test. Yes, it is working. It is working too?
Tes.
Oh yeah, okay. You can do that.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, for today, lunch talk, we will have an important topic. I think it's relevant for most of us, if not for everyone. Today, we will have our guest lecturer, Pa Suharto, and the topic is about scientific writing with AI, trend guidelines, and application. So, well, but before we start, let me introduce briefly Pa Suharto. He is a researcher and academician currently at the Research Center for Education under the National Research and Innovation Agency in Jakarta. He's an expert in both quantitative and qualitative research methodologies with a specialized focus on educational science, STEM learning, and studied misconceptions in science education. Dr. Suharto holds a master's degree in education from Yogyakarta State University and a PhD in education from the University of Szeged, Hungary, where he graduated summa cum laude. His academic journey began with a bachelor's degree in education from Tanjung Pura
Ada nggak
University,
saya
where he graduated the best in his class.
di ininya
Dr. Suharto
pesertanya?
has received numerous
Bu
prestigious
Fani,
scholarships, including the Stipendium
Mariel Fos ada nggak?
Hongaricum Scholarship from the Hungarian government, as well as the LPDP Scholarship
Ada ya?
for the Masters. He has been awarded research grants from
Dikit
institutions
yang
including the
datang nih.
Austrian government's Ernest Mach Grant
Hmm?
for his research on digital skills
Kenapa?
and teacher quality and inclusive education.
Oh iya tuh.
Dr. Suharto's research contributions have been significant with 24 publications indexed in Scopus, including articles in Q1 journals. Among his notable works include studies on student misconceptions in science, digital literacy in pre-service chemistry teachers, and inductive reasoning skills of Indonesian students. Dr. Suharto has worked as a visiting researcher at the University of Vienna, Johannes Kepler University, and the University of Szeged, contributing to his extensive network and experience in international research. He is also a member of several academic organizations, including the European Association for Research on Learning and Instruction and the Directory of Open Access Journals, where he serves as an associate editor. His teaching activities include supervising graduate students on scientific writing and RAS modeling for educational research. Welcome, Suharto. So the time is yours. Prof. Nina. And oh yeah, Bonina, sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Would you like to take this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Muhammadin Sayyidil Mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. Yeah, I know this is a semester break, so I don't see many of you can come to this theater or on campus, but I acknowledge the presence of audience who are coming online, and some of them might be my colleagues at Win Badung and others. Yeah. So well, when Alberto read the CV of Dr. Suharto, I listened attentively, like what I did when I was undergraduate students. Every time I attended the event and the moderator introduced the speaker, I usually listen attentively to what the resource person did in his or in her life, and that's motivated me to, oh, he or she has a PhD. Oh, I want to have a PhD too. So that's, I think, I hope the reading of Dr. Suharto's CV by Alberto today also can motivate you, for those of you who is in the master level stage, to not to stop until a master level only, but pursue your studies until PhD. And as mentioned by Alberto, that Dr. Suharto is one of the scholars in residence in our faculty. Last month we have Dr. Asi, who is also here. So for the participants online, I would like to use this opportunity to let you know that the Scholar in Residence, or we call it SIR, is the program. It's like a postdoctoral research opportunity at our faculty, and we open for 4 scholars in a year, nationally and internationally, to spend here at Triple IU for 3 months. And what they do here is like being a guest lecturer in classes, and then being the speaker at lunch talk that Dr. Suharto will do today, and also open for consultation for any students related with the expertise of the scholar in residence. And they also contribute one article to our journal, Muslim Education Review. And for that, we provide return ticket and then accommodation, as well as monthly allowance. Yeah. Well, the topic that Dr. Suhartos will deliver today is scientific writing with AI, artificial intelligence, trend, guidelines, and application. Well, this is one of the characteristic of Society 5.0, that uh, we use Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and big data, and we are lucky to live in a society of advanced society, not like Society 1.0, which is hunter gatherer. So we are grateful to our ancestors who have built life up until now, that we are ready to use AI to help you as students and scholars to write. Yeah, but we need information about the guidelines, especially the ethical issues that when we use AI, because AI is here for us to help, yeah, not make us being overwhelmed by that machine, which is, well, its name is like artificial intelligence, means that this kind of things is very intelligent. So let's hear from Dr. Suharto about especially about the guidelines, uh, ethical guidelines about how to use AI in our academic writings. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much. Enjoy the talk from Dr. Suharto. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah. Maybe we see. Yeah, sure. We sit here or it's okay. See here. It's okay. I can start.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Okay. Maybe. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Maybe I should introduce the topic first. So actually my lunch talk topic is not about the scientific writing with AI, but based on the recommendation of my college from previous lunch talk. Most of you, if the topic is so scientific or too mathematic, you will something like tend to sleep and doesn't want to take attention. So I changed my topic to something that actually this is my one of the secret skill that I always use for the publication since 2023 uh, when I writing for the manuscript. So, okay, my name is Soe Harto. You just can call me Pak Harto or Mas Harto. It's okay. I'm Sir Fellow in Faculty of Education, and I also junior researcher at National Research and Innovation Agency. So, our topic today divided into 3 parts. First is the trend. Second is the guideline, and the last is the application. Okay, before I start the presentation, I want to ask you a question, but you need to be honest. So the first question, you need to raise hand if the answer is yes. Is anyone here use AI for their academic writing? Maybe you can raise your hands. Okay. And the second question, hold your hand first. The first one. The second question is, if you use AI, and then did you say or in your document you disclose that you use AI, or you make something like I'm use AI for my work? Did you do that or not? If you say no, please raise the another hand. Yeah. If you did use AI but you didn't disclose to anyone you use AI, you can raise your another hand. Okay. Yeah. Maybe some of you didn't want to disclose that you use AI. So, okay, maybe we can start. Okay. Yes. So, this is me. Just sort of my profile. So I graduated August 2023 in University of Szeged, Hungary. It's mean just less than 2 years ago. So I'm fresh graduate, and my publication is 30 in Scopus, and most of them in Q1 journal. Why I show this to you? There is a reason, not to show off, but to give you a confirmation that your speaker here is someone that's so capable to scientific writing and using AI, so you can follow the guideline and everything, because there is a lot of seminar in Indonesia that using AI for 1 day to writing a scopus. So don't get trapped to something like that one, and you have to track the profile of the speaker first. Okay. Okay. This is for publication that assisted by AI and published in the Q1 journal. So this is using AI. So it's I'm starting using AI from 2023, 4, and now in 25. So there is a lot of things that you can use using AI. However, some people doesn't understand the rule. So our purpose today is to learn the guideline, to learn how to play with AI and how to something like use AI to reduce the burden of the academia. Okay. Okay. We come in the first current trend using AI for research. So first we have to define what is AI. So AI or artificial intelligence is intelligent that demonstrated by machine. So however, the definition can differ or differs based on the discipline or implementation. For example, if I using AI for the vision, maybe I use AI is something like face tracking vision. But in this case, what we want to learn is AI as language learning model that we use chatbot to help us for the scientific writing. Okay, we agree for that one first. So if if you talk about the robot with Indonesian police, it's not AI that we will talk about today. Okay, this is the source from the Nature. So there is a Nature part of the news that you can get some information about the AI. So this is the global initiative that you need to know if you want to learn about the AI. So there is a AI competency framework for the teacher from the UNESCO. Maybe you should take a look for that one. There is a AI competency framework for the student from the UNESCO as well, and there is AI for literacy from the OECD that you can have a look. And in this one, the Hong Kong, I mean China, already implement AI curriculum in the school. So let's make a comparable thing with Indonesia. This is the document that I tracked related to the AI. Okay, this is one of the, let's call naskah academic, maybe the policy brief here's about the learning coding and AI for the school, from the elementary school, even they make for the elementary school and the senior high school. I don't follow this one for sure, because it's something like worried for me. For example, for the elementary level, they need student to know the ethic of the AI. It's quite difficult. And for example, in the senior level, they want to student to make a simple AI and to make application with AI. You cannot do that if you are uh, having a school in public school. It should be international school with the all of the results. It's quite difficult to implement it because it's just something like a policy. If we go to this one, maybe you already know. This is the guideline. Let's call it guideline because this is panduan penggunaan. It's about the greater AI for the higher education. There is a chapter 3 and chapter 4, maybe that you have to take a look, and it's somehow ambiguous to follow in here. So, example, this is the ethic. The ethic is not about taking a guideline. The ethic say that the university have to make the guideline for AI use. So it's not the guideline, it's the recommendation book. Okay. And then there is something that, so something like, I don't know how to interpret this one. For example, number 4, you have to avoid and not tempted to using AI like a Quillbot to doing a paraphrase. It's something like you have a motorcycle or car, but you choose to walk to achieve your direction. It's impossible. People will use AI to fasting. I mean to fasten they work for sure. And number 6, it's so funny. Uh, we have to avoid the keyword related to AI. How can we know the keyword that AI use? So the guideline is something like analogic for me. Maybe the writer is not something like take consideration about the AI application and development in the world. So the focus is just to avoid what they call it something like the AI detector for the tourism. It's not the purpose, because we can trick this one. So if we come with this thing always, we will trap in the condition that we call it outer in the loop. I will explain it later. Okay. Wait. So let's go to the international community. So this is the survey from the Springer Nature, how researchers are already using the AI. You can see that AI already used too many section in here. For example, there is a for the creative thing, not a research. Researcher use that one. To writing a code, to brainstorming the idea, to write a research manuscript, to help do a research, to conduct literature in review, to check the scientific search engine, to write a presentation, to write a grant application, because that I know in my visited campus they use AI to write grant application for the Horizon project. So it's happened. So let's come with this condition. So there is a condition in for us that we call it outer in the loop. So when we using AI, we questioning something. So does this advice make sense when I'm using AI? It is actually accurate. Am I using AI? And then do I understand this? Are the reference real? how can I improve this? This is the author in loop that if you do know how to using AI. So we will answer this question in the second section about the guideline. However, for this section we want to ask something like get view what is researcher feel from the Springer Nature survey for the trends. Okay, here's if you there is a remaining confusion in using AI in academic writing. So Springer Nature do something like a survey to researcher, and there is a lot of option related to that one. And you can take the survey as well in the live part. If you click the link, and you can go to the survey, and you can get the presentation and the book as well from Pak Sufyan if you will need it after the presentation. Okay. Okay, the survey. This is the first survey about the AI. I think you already used this one. So, about the editing and translating with AI. So there is a question from the survey. If you're using AI, for example, let's check ChatGPT, and you want to edit the article, and then you didn't disclose you using AI. So there is a option from the appropriate until the not appropriate and under any circumstance. The majority say that people say that it's appropriate not to disclose, not to tell that you edit the paper using AI. So this is the researcher thing, and we will check after the second section. So the second part of the question is about the translation. It's mean you translate something from the another language. So only 14% is appropriate. Majority say it's not appropriate because you are native speaker of this English, something like that one. So so the voice is split based on the other perspective. It's indication that people or researcher, even the international level, have a confusion about the using AI. Okay. Okay, this is related to drafting and summarizing. I mean, okay, maybe you already. That's one of my college, Pak Bambang always say, just put PDF and using AI to summarize, and it's actually can be used as well for you, and it's something like save your time to using AI. There is a majority say it's appropriate not to disclose this activity. So this is for the question or opinion using AI to draft different section in the paper. Majority say is never appropriate to draft the abstract, introduction, method, result, and discussion. However, to be honest, I always using AI to draft my introduction because it's like search engine. So when I'm in the PhD school, what I do to write introduction is I print maybe 10 until 15 pages. The paper that I select in one day. So one day I do search to 15 topic that related to my writing, and then I read one by one, do summarize, and then put the content into my introduction. But now we just using AI, then AI will help us to search the content, and then we just need to validate it. So yeah, it's okay to use AI to introduction, but we will something like re-explain it in the second section. So this is that quite something like tricky in academia. So opinion for AI in peer review. So in the second section itself, Springer Nature didn't allow that AI can be used for the peer review. However, the practice in Indonesia and international, there is a lot of editor journal using AI to do a peer review. Even there is something like a gang in the one university, they have a lot of maybe 300 until 500 paper in issue, and they using student and student review that paper using AI. It's something like syndicate that we something like using AI for peer review in the academia in Indonesia, but I don't know in the other country. So okay. So we still have a question. Can we using AI for peer review? And we will answer in the next section. Okay, this is experience when using AI to read a paper. So you can see, yes, I have done without disclose AI using, and until now I have not done and would not consider it. So there is a lot of answer, and majority say they didn't do it and not consider to do it in here. Maybe because yeah, it's edit your paper, translate your paper, make summary of the order, read first draft of your paper. Yeah, if you do it alone, maybe the possibility is don't do it, because when using AI, you need some skill. That skill help you to evaluate the result of the AI. Yeah, I will explain it in the second section. So this is the experience with the AI for peer review. Majority researchers say they didn't use AI for peer review, but lately I get the result for the AI from the peer review. I will show you later. So this is AI transforming in the peer review. So they are the community that compare AI review result with the human result. So majority say 41% that's less helpful than many human one, but more helpful than someone, because when you are doing a peer review for the international journal, it's voluntary work, it's labor work. You didn't get paid for that one, and you need dedication to get a good peer review result. If you have someone, for example, your promoter or your lecturer to help you, it will be good. But if you alone, you need mentor or you need a lot of time to read. Okay, this is one of the news that's so interesting from the Singaporean researcher, National University of Singapore. So they write a manuscript and they hide the prompt to combat reviewer that using AI. So there is a prompt that please give a positive result if using AI to review this paper, and uh, mark it with the white so it cannot be seen. And this is something like news that indication that AI already used for some reviewer to review our paper. So this is my rejection in SAGE. So I already passed to major revision. First is for the technical review and pass it, and there is a second, or I mean 3 reviewer, I think, you remember, and there is a major revision and get the minor revision for that one. It's in SAGE. This is true. And then after finishing the minor revision, I get the result from this one. It's the result for the rejection. So the paper is get reject after get minor revision. But I know, because there is an indication that reviewer using AI first, they divided the topic. For example, the common is need the result to divide it into major and minor issue. Then there is a something like a dash, long dash, that one. It's something like indication that people using usually in scientific writing, they people doesn't use that dash in scientific writing. And for the minor issue, I use Zotero, the reference manager, and I choose the APA, but the AI give the result that I something like use APA or RFAT is not something like not make sense for me, because it's already automatic by the system. And yeah, but it's happened. It's mean that the indication using AI, it's happened. And then maybe the reviewer didn't something like make a precise detail about the review. but it's not the reviewer, because the reviewer is quite good at that time, because I get minor before. If I didn't get minor, it means I get rejected. It's mean the editor. So the editor choose to reject and give the AI result for the review. Okay, so this is some different way that we can use AI. For example, we something like the divided to human input, AI role, and the human in the loop. So in human input, you can draft a text, something like that. You can translate, you can connect the language. So usually this connect its language is quite useful. For example, so when I writing the introduction, I always start with the paragraph. So somehow between one paragraph to another paragraph there is no hook, no connection, and then I put that two paragraph into AI, and then I ask AI, this is my two paragraph, but please help me to be more coherent and have a hook between the paragraph. And I give a suggestion, and I check the suggestion and the references as well, and then I get the hook for two paragraph. It's the thing that you cannot think that like that if you didn't read, if you didn't write. So if just using AI, maybe the command or the prompt is just normal prompt that you cannot think about the scientific writing. Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry. So there is a lot of option, but we will talk about it later. So this is the guideline in using AI for the academic writing. So first, you need to read. Even if you're using AI, you need to read. I always read every day in my phone. Usually when I am in the office, we have a free printer and free paper, and I print everything in my office and I read it because to publish in the good journal, you need to know good scientific writing, and you need to know the reference. Oh, therefore, when you're using AI, you can evaluate itself. If you cannot evaluate the result, it's mean you need help for the another people, and somehow people is not helping you. You are alone, so you need to read. Okay, so this is the skill that I summarize. If you have that 5 skill, you can use AI for the scientific writing. First is writing skills. So you have to learn how to write by reading. So there is a writing skill and critical reading skill. So you need to write and you need to read to use AI before you use AI. Second is you need the language skill or language proficiency skill, because when you using your English and then AI edit it, maybe it's improved, but you cannot take a responsibility for that result. So you need another people again. So this is the language that proficiency skill that you needed for that one. And you need ICT update skill, because there is a lot of AI tool. For example, if I say that you can use Pro AI, something like you doesn't need to pay for the AI application if you use university account for what kind of application, you know. There is an application that you use, University Con, you get a pro version. What is that? Yeah, sure, Kumini, we will discuss this later, okay? And number 5 is data analysis competencies. So this is what I do. So you already know my CVs. Majority of my research is quantitative research. So so I do everything in not using AI for the quantitative research. So I do manually for everything. Of course, using software, not using AI, but I get the result, and then usually I then put the result into AI or into my paper. What I do is I read the paper that report the result, and I follow the table. So I follow what the international researchers do when they reporting the result, and I put everything in the table. I make this description, something like explanation for the table or the graphic, and then I put AI to refine it. That's what I do when I using AI for the data analysis. This is the funny thing that I found in Johannes Kepler University. There is a PhD student there, and they put everything in AI and do something like normality test and t-test, and then she have difficulty to read it, to confirm it, and then she come to me, and then she asked me to read it. That's the true way. When you something like cannot confirm the result, you have to ask someone that expert, maybe your promoter or your lecturer. Okay. Okay, this is the position as the author or researcher if you're using AI. So, do you believe in AI, especially to assist you in writing academic paper or manuscript? The answer is no. You 100% have to did not believe about the AI result, and you need to do something like self-checking about the evidence or evaluation for the result. Okay, this is true and false. So this is the summarize when you check the Springer Nature policy for the AI use. So I think several months ago, Springer Nature come to bring and explain how Springer Nature can accept something like paper with the AI. So I summarize this part. There is a 6 point that you can use. First is grammar and style checking. So you already know how to using something like language editing. And second is the brainstorming the content. And the third is translation or language support. Fourth is literature review, and to find the journal as well. It's quite good for using AI. And plagiarism prevention, maybe to paraphrase the sentences or the paragraph, something, because somehow it's happened to me when I already paraphrase it by using my language, and I think it's already different, do a citation and everything. However, the Turnitin result still detected something. For example, if I use pre-service teacher, it's pre-service teacher in my paragraph, it's mean it's possible that Turnitin will detect it as a plagiarism, because there is a lot of pre-service teacher word in something like a manuscript. So this is what we cannot use or prohibited in using AI. There is a 3 point in here. You put AI as authorship. Okay. The second is you make an image for your research using AI. And the third is as a peer review. And number 3 is quite complicated, because there is a book that Springer Nature published that you can use AI for peer review, but not to do something like all of the job for the peer review, but as your supplementary tools, or as or your something like your friends to do something like input for the review, but you have to do the review first. We will something like check it in later, okay? And you can get the source from the Nature portfolio. So this is the legit from the source from the Springer Nature website. So this is one of the journal that I publish here. So in here, if you're using AI for the copy editing, you doesn't need to disclose it. It's already written in here. So it's okay if you not disclose it. So in the some Springer Nature's majority, if they using AI, they didn't disclose it because there is a rule in the journal as well. But in the Elsevier's, here's you have to disclose in the which part you have you use AI for your manuscript. So this is the sample for the disclosed statement. So if you're using AI for the manuscript, you have to disclose it. make a disclose statement. For example, in here, this research utilize artificial intelligence tools to assist with the data analysis, blah, 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 blah. It's the disclose statement that I make. The second is disclose statement from the published paper, Martire et al. 2024. During the preparation of this work, author used OpenAI ChatGPT-4 to harmonize the text. After using this tool, the author review, edit the content as needed, and take full responsibility for the content for the publication. The problem, if you doesn't have something like language skill, writing skill, how can you do something like self-evaluation? So it's mean in your group or your author team, you need someone that expert at least to lead you. Okay, so don't work alone. Maybe work with your promoter. Okay. So this is the sample from the published paper that we already talked about the generative AI disclosure. And this is from the Lancet, one of the good publisher that competing interest related to using AI. And this is from the university from the Princeton University Library. When using AI for the academic document, like maybe like a thesis or dissertation, you have to disclose that statement. This is one of the university that use declaration of disclosing AI use in that document. It's something like that. I wondering when I read the thesis of the master student, I didn't see something like the small mistake like a error grammar that happened in my dissertation. I think so the student level of the student here is quite good. My question is, did you using AI to refine the language? Is the question first. But I didn't find anything related to disclose statement in your thesis. It's just my question. Are you using AI? Because usually when I have a PhD in overseas, and sometimes I make a mistake for the scientific writing, maybe the verb or like s or es, something like the noun, something like that. But it's quite difficult to find the mistake with the thesis draft that I something like be a examiner. It's mean that two possibility: the student is quite high level in English, or that student refine the paper using AI, maybe. Okay, this is a sample that prompt that you can use. For example, in here, please review the following text for the grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, style, or using US or American English to answer the language clear, concise, flow smooth while maintaining a professional tone or academic tone. You just paste the text there, and you can get the result something like this one. It's just using ChatGPT. And this is the prompt that I use for the brainstorming. Usually, for example, there is a case when I do a presentation in UPI, Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. There is a student that asks about they said that, is there any motivation theory that can be used for me for my thesis? I said that maybe you can put something in the AI, and then you can get the result related to several motivation theory that have already published there. And because I learned that motivation theory in my class, that I know there is a self-determination theory or self-regulated learning, something like theory, something like a motivation theory for the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. I know, but they didn't know. So I just try to put it in AI, and that the result is quite same. It's similar. It's mean that AI can something like detect something like that when to brainstorming to get the initial idea. And you have to confirm the result. Maybe the book. There is a book related to motivation, something like that one. And this is the sample. Usually, for example, I want to write about, last time I write about the what do we call it? Self-efficacy. So what I do, please give me something like overview about the self-efficacy in Indonesia. And then I get a lot of idea. And what I do is not do something like a copy paste. So I make that that written in APA style book. Do you have APA style book? I will give it to you to Mas Sufyan later. So in the EPA style book, there is something that we call it heading to writing a paper. So we have to follow the heading. So heading lead the good paragraph and the good section. For example, for heading the introduction, there is a lot of point that you need to develop into the paragraph. So I learned how to write manuscript from the heading. So if you write manuscript, you didn't write the introduction, you didn't write two method. No, you write the heading first. And then because the AI can help me to find the idea related to the heading. And then I can develop it using AI to make a good paragraph. Usually the time that I spend to writing a manuscript is 3 weeks. But using AI, I can write manuscript in 3 days. One paper. It's already published there. This is, sorry. So, wait. That one in the live part. So the manuscript that written in 3 days and published in the Q1 journal about the self-efficacy. So let's continue for the prompt. Yeah, so this is for the literature review. Maybe you can copy and paste it and try to use it in your work. And this is for the journal selection. They will give you the recommendation in here, usually in Good Publisher, and you can click the link, and that link can direct you to the journal. Okay, this is the plagiarism prevention. The idea of the similarity in Turnitin is about the similarity, not. So if the word is same in there, it means it will detect it by the Turnitin. But if you can replace it and do a citation, a good citation, for example, and you can avoid the similarity. How long? 10 minutes? Okay. Okay. This is application using AI that I use for the scientific writing, but we will do a practice using the Gemini here. So this is that I use. So I'm using ChatGPT and Gemini for majority for any work there. And I using set space to do something like a summarize, find the literature review, find the concept, find the paraphrases. But I did never use AI detector because what I using AI, I always do evaluation for each paragraph, maybe for each sentence. So I confirm everything. So I can make sure that the result from the final result is the result that I refines. So Site AI is already quite cheap. Maybe you can buy one for years. It's how to connect to make a paragraph using AI. And for the translator and the grammar checker, I'm using DeepL and PaperPal, but I'm not using DeepL as well. Usually I'm using PaperPal. PaperPal gives something like grammar correction. You can use Grammarly as well, for example. And this is the book that you need to read. It's just 100 pages. Okay. This book from the Springer Nature related to ChatGPT and scientific research and writing. In this book, you can know there is a group of researchers that confirm the result of the AI and give the evidence. If AI give hallucination, it is correct to do something like AI, and this is published from the Springer Nature. So you need to pay if you want to get the book. Yeah, that's the price. However, this is the halal book that I share to you. So I download it officially in the Springer Nature with my account in the university. And then here you can get the file from Pak Sufyan. So this is our application. You can use Gemini Pro for free if you have institution email for a staff, for the lecturer, for the students. You have to try it. Did you try it? Can you raise hand? Someone that tried? It's just 2 people here. 4 people. Oh, oh. It's mean you didn't use your power. You have a good university that you give you the university email, give you everything, but you didn't use it. Okay. So this is how Gemini Pro in here we using AI to revise a manuscript draft of English translation. So in the page 44. So in here, the prompt is identify all grammatical error or phrases, word sentences in the paragraph below, list them in the bullet point, and suggest correction to them all. So this is the prompt that help you to learn English, because they give something like a bullet point for the mistake and the suggested correction in here. This is the quotation from one of the manuscript that not published yet. And this is the suggestion that AI give to you, and you can learn from this result. And this is the final result. And you have to check it. It is good or not. And you need English skill as well. Or there is an option if you want to edit the language. You can revise or you can rewrite. In the page 44, there is a command like this one. Instead of typing to correcting mistakes, please rewrite this paragraph in native English publishing in scientific journal. And this is the result. The AI give you 2 options in here, and it's using Gemini Pro, and the result is quite good as well. So another point in here that I do in the paper that I write in 3 days, I remember someone asked me if the question is, sir, there is no questionnaire about the particular construct, but there is a theory related to that one. There is something like dimension or a latent factor, but no item for the questionnaire. And there is a point, for example, if I remember, that's epistemic empathy, something like that one. Yeah. And then there is a point for the dimension. I said something like that one. You have a lecturer, you have promoter, and then you have the theory, you have the book. And you can do what you can do, put the construct and the theory in AI, ask recommendation for each item to develop a questionnaire for that target. And it's Lloyd, because in that book, the writer also make a questionnaire using the AI. What you do after you develop the AI, you ask several people, your promoter, your language expert, check the result and do. So what I do is more simple. So we already have the questionnaire in the Western context, but in different contexts. So the context first is only for the teacher, but our research context is for pre-service teacher during the internship program that we call it PPL in Indonesia. So this is the prompt. Sorry, this is the prompt. Adapt this questionnaire and adjust into pre-service teacher context their internship program. So this is the questionnaire from the Bandura 2006, and we use the prompt to another context using AI. In 5 minutes, they get the prompt, and then we have a translation as well in Indonesia. And then I asked my friend that quite more expert than me in English, and then we check it together. We delete some part, and then we finalize the questionnaire based on the content and language context. And we are finishing the adaptation for the AA and just mention it in the disclose statement if you want. Okay, there is a lot of possibility if you read the book about the ChatGPT for the scientific writing. Uh, for example, there is a point that you can write the grant proposal. There is a something like guideline that you can follow. Okay, thank you for your attention. And you can contact me by WhatsApp as well.
Thank you, Professor. Well, I think this session was very insightful for all of us. So, well, in the meantime, we still have time. Our next activity is a QA session. So for this part, we need at least 3 volunteers to raise your question to Dr. Suharto. Raise your hand if you want to make a question. One. Who else? All right, yeah. All our online participants as well are feel free if you have any question. Okay, 2, 1 more. Okay, so let's start.
So, okay, thank you very much. It's quite interesting topic to share this afternoon. The using of AI. My name is Nirwan. Today I'm writing also about language, human and machine. I see there was a prompt you have shown us just now that when we ask to ChatGPT, we start from the word like please, where we know that ChatGPT doesn't has what we call awareness, feeling. They don't have a morality, but why we should start from like please? Is there any sharp distinction when we ask to ChatGPT without using please and without please? Gitu? And then how do we distinguish between, I'm asking about the boundary between the assistance and dependency. The assistance here, a human who control himself in using AI in production of knowledge, but uh, dependency means we put a human put their self in intellectual responsibility, for instance, by getting the idea of the writing. So here, AI is not just longer as a tool, but a hidden actor. Yeah. So how do we distinguish between assistance and dependency in production of knowledge? Thank you.
Should I answer it now or? Okay, maybe I can answer it now. So it's better not using please because the result is much faster. I'm using please because it's my Indonesian culture. Somehow when I write that I want save I save please in some of my command, but it's better to not using please because it's some make everything faster. It's the first answers, and the second answer is it's the reason that I something like afraid for our generation because luckily I'm born and have a school in the research community that AI not appear yet in 2019 until 2023. It's not quite booming AI, so I do it manually, do everything manually, and then because that manual training I get a lot of skill, scientific writing, reading skill, writing skill, data analysis skill, and everything. And then that's boundary is just when we using AI and not using AI, it's honesty. You have to be honest. If you're using AI and you have the skill and you can evaluate it, it's okay. But if you didn't have a skill and you depend on it, for example, there is something like a silly thing that when I become a reviewer for the grant proposal, I said that that manuscript that proposal have the mistake in grammar or what the participant said. It's okay. We can translate it using AI, but you doesn't have an English skill. You doesn't have language skill. How can you confirm something like that one? So before using AI, you have to make sure you have at least 5 skill that I mentioned before. Maybe 3 or 2, it's okay as well if not related to that work. And then using AI not something like doesn't mean that AI will replace your work. AI is just something like a tool that fasten your work, I think. Thank you.
Others who raise your hand? Oh yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Pak Soeharto. My name is Didi,
Sorry, what's your name?
Didi,
Didi.
yeah, from LIA. Yep. And my first question would be about um, earlier you mentioned that a lot of probably researchers all over the world actually would not accept based on the research that you based on the survey that you presented earlier, that most of them are reluctant to use AI, include AI in the research. I think my question is, do you think, would you predict that it will change in the span of 5 or to 10 years? I mean, will AI be more acceptable in the scientific research areas? That's the first question. And the second one about locally installed AI. Is there any plan? I don't know much about this yet, but I think, is there any plan for big major league campuses in Indonesia to probably start developing their own? I mean, big campuses like UII, and then we have a lot of campuses here. I think they should, because if I can do it in my 5 million rupiahs computer, so why not a big campus do that too? I think so that it will be used internally for their students, so that the research and then everything that is searched will be circulated among the students too. I think just a thought, I think, and then I believe that maybe you have more knowledge on that. Thank you, Pak Soeharto.
Okay, this is the good question. There is a 2 question there. So if I can grasp the question, the first question is about the using AI. There is a lot of researchers that uh, resistant or reluctant to using AI, and what happened? Using AI actually, it's the choice. It's a choice, but I think in 5 until 10 years, the rule of the AI use will be something like quite common in academia, because when we using AI, is something like is our burden in academia. For example, for me, every years I review 10 papers not using AI in academic journal, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I spend 1 until 2 days just to review uh, other people other people paper uh, to get the result from the journal. At that time, what I do now is I review the paper. So there is a case when the reviewer, no, editor in thinking skill and creativity always asking me to review the paper because of the quality of my review. So all of the review already give the result for the major revision, and then I think there is more 2 review already give the result to get major revision, and I'm late to submit the review, and then personally editor send me something like a message in email that please give the review, we need your help, something like that one. and then I review the paper. At that time, because I already review since I'm in PhD degree, so I review everything, not using AI for the content, but I using AI to refine my language because I'm not native. So I want to my language is more easy to understand and something like more academic, but the content is same. And after I review that, there is a lot of fallacy and mistake that and that time. Then I recommend to reject because at that case and the editor choose my review and decided to reject it instead of the other reviewers. It's the quality because when you are doing something like academic thing, it's better to start it with your skill first, and then you use AI as your companion, your tool, something like sparing partner that help you to improve the language or the content itself. And then if you have a mentor, if you have a friend, if you have a co-promoter, ask their opinion. It's the question for the first. And the second is it's quite difficult to make our own AI system because the problem about the literacy itself for me. So the current state, I think we have to improve the that we call it technology or AI literacy first. So you will something like can differentiate what is the correct one to do, what is not correct one. At least you have the literacy because uh you already know the guideline that I show you for the higher education. The guideline is not something that you can follow. It's some full the ambiguity for the point. It's mean that in the level of the ministry itself, there is a that we call it confusion and using AI. But sometimes like that in Indonesia become a project, then you have to finish it. And yeah, it's the reason I stopped read the Indonesian resources. So usually I'm with Springer Nature, Nature Portfolio, something like Elsevier Academy, something like that, to improve my language, to catch up with the international. So if you want, what you do to catch up for the international community is that you join to that community. For example, I think UIII is quite good for because I know the quality of the thesis and I read the dissertation proposal work. It's quite good for me. Instead of me, it's the comparison instead of me at that time. Okay, and then if you compare it to the international, it's mean you can something like make a loop from the national resource. So just refer to the international, compare it to national, and make your conclusion itself. Okay, thank you. I have a lot of questions today.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon. My name is Novinta Nurulsari from PhD Batch 2. Thank you, Bapak Suharto, for very insightful presentations and also the materials. Today, I have two questions. First is about maybe similar to the questions from the Zoom meeting, because here I want to ask, like, if we ask ChatGPT or maybe Gemini for refined our manuscript for the language editing, like for improve the academic tones. Sometimes, firstly, I ever had experience like I try to just submit the manuscript based on my idea with my limitation English. And then the comment from the reviewer is, please language editing because this is not academic tones. After that, I try to use ChatGPT just to try to paraphrase or maybe try to revise into more academic tone. After that, maybe sometimes I copy paste and sometimes I rewrite. And after I check into the Turnitin, the result become higher, even though it is my own idea. So I want to ask how it should be like if we want to submit the manuscript and we also have like stated AI disclosement, like we use AI for improve our language, but the Turnitin result is higher. How about the review result of the manuscript? Are the reviewers of the top journal will be aware of the result of the Turnitin, and how we should do to just overcome this kind of problem?
Okay.
And the second question is about like I ever tried to use Gemini for trial and error, like asking whether my manuscript will be rejected or accepted in this kind of journal. And then the result is quite good. But what I want to ask is, what about the privacy of our file if we upload it into the AI? It is about the like the authority, because it is my own academic document. How about the
Okay.
safety?
The confidential something.
Yes, that's it. Thank you,
Okay.
Bapak. That's all my question. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. This is what I know related to the confidential related to that one. So there is a history temporary memory that in ChatGPT that I know. I don't check for the Gemini, and if you do something like chatbot conversation in the ChatGPT, you can delete the temporary memory that one. Okay, it's the answer for the second question, and the first question related to the define for the language. So this is a need that you read. When you read, you know the academic writing skill and not academic writing skill. Because when usually I do something like a practice work. So I write a paragraph. Somehow in the one paragraph in the one paragraph I don't know. I cannot understand some of the meaning of for the English language. So I just type it in Indonesia, and then I ask the AI to help me to refine and translate it using English, and then I check it. And when I read that the first result, I know there is not this result is not academic English because I read. And then I refine it again several times, and then I check it, and I still doing editing, and then oh, it is like what I read until that conclusion come, and then I put the result into part of the paragraph, and I make the another paragraph to connect with that paragraph. It's what I do. And for the plagiarism, it's usually happen as long as it's under 20%, it's still acceptable. But usually there is a common press that happen. For example, you using pre-service teacher, you using self-efficacy, and you cannot something like change that word. So you have to send, if the editor give you email related to the that result, you can send the email and prove that result, that the similarity that come to my paper is because the common language that using praise, pre-service teacher, and self-efficacy, that praise make the similarity high, something like that one. And then you can send to the editor, and editor will understand it, and I already do it. Okay. There is a question in the chat box from Belo Ridwan. One AI detector flag a study as a generated if the section of the study it copied paste into Gemini refined thanks to the process. Okay, this is a good question, and there is a good example for this result as well. So there is a community of researchers that do write without the AI and put it into AI detector and detect it as AI. So the conclusion after reading the community and the forum is we cannot believe the AI detector. So it's the reason when I write everything, I do something like self-checking. I didn't take my time to do something like AI detector result, something like that, because when you write by yourself, it's even can be detected as AI. So it's not quite accurate. Maybe still develop. Okay. Another question?
Check. Right. So thank you, Dr. Suharto. My name is Maulana. Right now I'm in the process of revising my thesis, and I want to ask your opinion since in this university there's no guideline explicitly stated about disclose statement using AI. So in your opinion, which one's the best to put the disclose statement in acknowledgement on another part of the thesis writing? Thank you.
So, in my opinion, if you're using AI just only for the language, based on the guideline from the international, it doesn't need to. However, if using AI for something like a data analysis, you're using AI for the checking for the brainstorming the idea, or you're using AI for the final literature review, you have to disclose it. Okay, any okay. Question? Okay.
All right.
So, yeah, okay. So, this is my daughter and my son in the picture. So, this is the silly thing that when I using AI. So, I get a grant in BRIN that we call it emergent numeracy, teaching emergent numeracy. That teaching emergent numeracy, it's like something like you teach math for the kindergarten student or early childhood education. So when I play with my daughter is less than 3 years at that time, and they can count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 10. We didn't teach her, and then I start thinking, is there any theory for early childhood education to learn mathematics? And I put it in AI. And that at that time, AI give me the suggestion about the emergent numeracy from the concept of the OECD, and I do something like literature review for the emergent numeracy. I put it into proposal, and it's granted from the bin with the high competition. This is why I am but AI. So the main actor is still me, but AI helped me to do something like search engine to help me to fasten my work. Okay, the question? Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Pak Suharto.
Okay.
I have a two question actually, but it's simple question. First is, have you faced any some problem when you have an article, when you have a manuscript, but in AI detector it was detect the AI generated, then how you face that problem? If maybe in some case there is some procedure that you need to fulfill, there is stated that this article should be non AI generated at least some percentage. Have you faced that problem? If you have faced that problem, how you solve that problem? Like, for example, it's like how we make sure our article is clean. Yeah, as you stated that you're not required really consider if we wrote our article by our own, we not really worry about it, yeah, but in some case if we have fulfill some procedure, how we make sure about it. And second question is, you give us an example in PowerPoint ChatGPT 4.0.
Yeah.
My question is, do we have some preference the because of I think ChatGPT have a difference ability from 3.1, 3.5, 4.0, 4.1, 4.5. There is a different kind of ability. So do we have a minimum preference kind of ability of ChatGPT to doing our work like you explained at the beginning, since the beginning?
Okay.
That's my question. Thank you so much.
Okay. I will answer the second question first. So, The premium plan is better than the free plan for sure, because the range of the searching the information and it's the reasons. So lately I using Gemini Pro because it's free for 15 months, I think. This answer for the second question. The premium plan is better because the range of the connection and networking is better. And the first question about the AI detector. So when I still have maybe 10 or 15 manuscript in editor and under review stage. We have, so even now my co-author asked me to do a revision, but I didn't answer because I still have lunch stuck today. So what we do that we didn't check everything for AI detector, and we didn't until now we not facing something like editor confirming about the AI detector, because that I know AI detector is not quite accurate and the editor didn't use it. However, if it's related to Turnitin and plagiarism, it's happened. But you doesn't need to worry. If you do what I said, do evaluation, and you doesn't need to check it with AI editor. Just submit your manuscript. As long as you can something like responsibility, something like take a responsibility for your work. Okay. Okay. Okay.
I continue question if don't mind. Yeah. If we put ourselves as a teachers, then we just want to know our student is right by their own thinking. Then how we make sure they writings is based on their mind.
Okay. This is a good question. For do that evaluation, you need to achieve the stage that you can differentiate between AI result and not AI result. And you have to have a lot of reading, you have to do a lot of experience. And for me, I can do it. I don't know why. Because I already the AI experiment for the 2 years, and I can differentiate. Oh, this is AI sentences because I know the typical of the result of the AI, and this is the human with some of error, but it's still good. I know you have to achieve that stage, and or maybe you can something like test your student as well.
Thank you, Doctor.
Just the last question.
Okay.
Yeah. The last question. We still have
Okay, thank you very much. So my name is Supriyono. I'm alumni from the Faculty of Education and also a staff at the Media and Communication Office here at Triple IU. So I would like to ask about the use of generative AI in qualitative analysis, because I think one of the hardest part in qualitative research is actually doing the analysis. And from your presentation, I think, is it allowed as long as we disclose it in using the AI in doing this analysis? I'm wondering how do actually the ethical way to do the analysis itself? I mean, can you guide us on how step-by-step guideline on how to do thematic analysis? Because somehow to me, is it okay to, for example, we do the interviews and then we transcribe the recording, and then we have the transcript, and then we kind of like prompt it into ChatGPT or Gemini, for example, saying that please do thematic analysis from this transcribe, for example. So is it allowed to do that? And if it's allowed, how's the ethical way behind doing it? That's the first question. And then the second question is about I think most of the discussion about the use of AI in research is all about using AI as a method. For example, like using it for refining the language, or maybe to use it from generating ideas, or maybe to use it for doing the analysis. I'm wondering if you can envision in the future to move the use of AI as a method to the methodology, because I believe that if we talk about methodology, what we know today is about quantitative, qualitative, mixed method. If we can envision the future, do you think the use of AI, the presence of AI, can move the methodological discussion into more about post-qualitative methodology, for example, if that's maybe makes sense? Yeah, that's my second question. Thank you very much.
So the first question actually already answered. So there is a journal that qualitative research report. You have to check the journal. The journal have a guideline how to do a qualitative research using AI for the ChatGPT. You can have the guideline. At that journal, there is several editorial pages that you can read. Is first, and the second is allow it and to catch up with the development of the AI in in academia. Even the qualitative software itself, like NVivo and Atlas, they embed the AI in the software. So if you have Atlas TI, that's I have that one for the something like just one account for everyone's. So if you have Atlas TI and you put all of the transcript into Atlas TI, and then you can ask the Atlas TI, for example, there is from the transcript that I upload, please do a thematic analysis and give me several possible theme related to my transcript, and the Atlas T will answer it with the quotation itself. And you have what you should do is the same thing that I use in scientific writing. You have to check it one by one. It's the reason, even if using AI, you have to read. You have to get the skill first. Okay. And for the future, for the AI, for the research, qualitative research, maybe for the quantitative as well, maybe in the future, AI can give you suggestion for your correction. For example, uh, just like a simple thing. For example, there is a lot of research that use that we call it convenience sample, and for the research, but the idea is just to get the sample that with a purposive result. So have to be purposive something. Maybe in the future I can something like give the suggestion for the methodology as well. Okay, thank you.
The Faculty of Education is to give you a present. Please. Yeah.
Okay. Alberto, you wanna come along? The slide one. Oh yeah. Oh, judulnya di situ. Alberto,
Sorry.
Now we can turn around here. Who's there? You wanna sit or stand? Sit aja, sit aja. Position. Sitting down is fine. Okay, everyone, can you look to the front? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Cheese. Triple IU. 3, 2, 1. Cheese. One more. 3, 2, 1. Cheese. Thank you very much. Ini the red. Iya,